people like, oh, it would be so hard to undo all the corruption that exists within the system. No, it's actually relatively easy.
Oh, I need to hear this. How?
It's not America first to set the conditions that will later harm America.
Yeah, just creating new terrorists for the future.
I think that's right. And look, I mean, anybody who is honest and looks at what's happening in Gaza right now has got to be absolutely sickened by it.
That's where the hollow earth theory starts coming in.
But
just provide the other end of that.
Hollow earth is they're
hollow
saying
flat earth.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
Have you ever read about the reasons they attacked us? They attack us because we've been over there.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What is up, everybody? It is Scagz here, and thank you for listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. No captain tonight. I am joined instead by the king of the trash realm, Jimbo the Kid. Chris, what's going on, bro? Thank you for filling in and being here with me as always.
Of course. What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Not much, man. I'm a little bit under the weather, like we were talking about before, so
Yep.
gonna power through here. Overloaded on vitamins and a Claritin before we started recording. I was telling you that I was a little bit I really got kind of fucked up from our Mario Party wrestling stream the other day. I was starting to get sick, so I'm still kind of recovering from that. So we'll talk a little bit about the news tonight. We got some breaking news actually right before we came on here that former FBI head James Comey got indicted, so that's interesting. A lot of stuff going on. I know last time you were actually on the last episode we did, it's been about a week and a half since Charlie Kirk got assassinated.
Yeah.
And we kind of gave our thoughts. So a lot more news has come out since then. A lot of speculation. My God, by everyone around the motives. And then they actually have a suspect. Lots changed since we had that last, at podcast a couple weeks ago. So we could talk a little bit about that. Jimmy Kimmel got canceled. Now he's back. He took the weekend off in a sense. And there's a whole bunch of free speech warriors now, on the Democrat side and the left. Talk about all that shit and a lot more. We're going to get into it all. But first, I just wanted to plug a couple things. You can plug your show as well. I was talking to Big Luch earlier today, and we are going to it's not WrestlePalooza, but it's going to be Monday Night Raw. Sorry for the typo there. But we're going to be streaming Monday Night Raw. It's coming Monday, September 29th. Starts now at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Me, Big L, and whoever else wants to join. If you want to join for that, feel free as well. Yeah. Anybody. Those are always fun. I've been thinking about trying to get a little bit more continuity, just consistency on the political side of the podcast. The captain is in a really busy period of work right now. I know we break his balls a lot when we have all the streams and whatnot about him not showing up, but he is really under the gun right now for the next couple months. So I was thinking about, rotating out co-hosts or just having people join me, guests, things like that. Obviously, Jimbo here is willing to fill in where he can. I was even thinking about maybe going solo on occasion. I was telling you before, though, I'm not comfortable. I'm not like the type to just sit here on a live stream like you can and just talk to myself for an hour about stuff. So it just doesn't come naturally to me. So I might experiment with that. I think I've done one solo episode in the whole history of Two Doom Men podcast. So I might do that, but I might do it pre-recorded so that I could just, be a little bit more prepared, not live. So that might be how I kind of fill the time in the next couple months as the captain's really busy here. Outside of that, the wrestling, all that stuff, remains the same. Big Luch is willing to participate in all that stuff. I asked him too if he wanted to fill on the political side of things, and he was like, "Yeah, if you want your channel to be, banned instantly, then yeah, I'll do the political side of stuff." So I don't think Luch is going to help me out on that part. But interestingly enough, too, I forgot to mention this before. This is something like the timing is really big for me and you, because YouTube just admitted in a court case that they were censoring everyone on their channel, Google, on their channel, on their platform, YouTube, during the COVID era. They basically admitted this in court, and they've put forward a little bit of some information which we could get into a little bit later. What you want to say? Raising your hand, go for it.
What I will say is, are you surprised?
No. I mean, it's what we've been saying this whole time.
Remember, you got attacked our channel because when we were hosting the Last Lives podcast, I remember we had you and Cap on, and we were speaking, and this is in the heart of COVID. This is like literally the heart of people trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, what's happening, and just an open discussion, right? And obviously, we're not, medical fucking, physicians here, so we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And we always stated that, but I think a healthy discussion about, just like right now is crucial. This topic is crucial. Having, conversation, even if you agree to disagree, as long as it's cordial and respectful between ideas and agree to disagree without without low blows, and getting really disrespectful, there should be conversation, and which we did have. And I remember you specifically was having a lot of issues with YouTube during that time because but more so then, where they were just like, remember we called it the Lord Voldemort pill, and you couldn't even state. I don't even know if you could. I'm not going to say it now because it might still take it down. You know what I mean? And it's been 5 years later.
We're like the only podcast remaining from the old Patriot Podcast Network that somehow managed to survive on YouTube all these years later. Like everyone got whacked on YouTube.
No, and we got hit. And I remember we are not a political, we weren't a political show by any standards. We talked about anything and everything. But when we had you guys on, we'll get into politics, because I've always said with, any podcast that I had was just like, treat it like you're at a bar and you talk about anything. I'm open. I'm an open book. I like to talk about everything and anything. So I remember we talked about that specific drug. And remember, I think once it got taken down, I sent it right to you, and I go, "There's no way." And you're like, because you're so used to all that stuff by now, where it's just like, yep, like you just got to shrug your shoulders. It's just like, but it's just, it's very interesting. I'm at the point right now. I'll make this point quick, because I'm at the point right now that I feel like for some reason these censorships and these shadow bans, it's just all cherry picking at this point. Of they already have a pre-selected, image that they want, or somebody like you can't refute. That's why it's like, how can I say this? You have people who like are just already have notoriety and they start a channel, and it's just like, as long as if you have a fan base before doing something, usually like on TikTok or whatever, and then you can switch it up to YouTube, you have a better chance, of reaching some success. Like I've reached some success, but then it's after a while, where right now the reason why I'm shadow banned completely is because of I have reused content, and about this more than anything. It's taking, clips, putting it up, and then it goes viral, and then they're like, oh, time out, it's just not your content, and you can't throw it up. But then for you, it's like, well, this is the news, like right. The news. So like, I remember you had an issue with the Cybertruck thing, where a person tried to charge you money for using someone else's phone.
On New Year's Eve this year, when that Cybertruck got blown up in Vegas. They tried to shake us down for posting the major news clip.
So as a content creator, right? As a content creator, it's very like, it's just unmotivating at times, man, because it's like, I'm streaming, right? I'm a streamer. I stream video games. I'm not in the political space like you are. And I know your words carry more in terms of YouTube demonetizing your show for things you can say per se. But for me, it's not. It's complete opposite. It's actually reversed. It's music, right? And I feel like YouTube, for some reason, has to get their shit together. Because at the end of the day, it just looks like sometimes it could be rigged. It could be like, are they cherry picking? Because then you can see it with other content creators, right?
Yeah, I feel like they've knighted certain people.
You can see it with different content creators. You can see it on both spectrums when it comes politically, right? You can have someone who's a conservative and someone who's a liberal, right? So you're able to have, I'll never forget this. There was a point in time when I was on YouTube, on the actual desktop or on the app or whatever, there was a lot of Destiny content being pushed onto my feed out of nowhere. I've never heard of him. I never saw him. I don't even know, what he was about. I had no idea he was a streamer. He was on Kick, all that stuff. And he's a very left-wing, person in the space, right? Right. And then you have someone who's complete opposite of him, and it's Nick Fuentes. And then you take his channel down. Not saying I agree with Nick Fuentes, disclaimer, because people want to jump on you. It's like, oh, are you a Nick Fuentes fan? It's like, I'm not a fan of his. Do I listen to both sides of people? Yeah, I can listen to Destiny and I can listen to him, right? And I could be like, I disagree with this, but you know what? Maybe he has a point on this, or maybe Destiny has a point. And isn't that normal? Like, that should be normal. That should be considered, something that we should have. This is why these discussions and these platforms exist, is so people can make and come up and use critical thinking and whatever. But it's just funny how like you can see it plain as day what YouTube has done, right? And we didn't need a court to understand that in the beginning. Like, oh, these fuckers are censoring people, dude, and it just promoting their own agenda and their biases to the platform, and everybody knew it. You just knew it. Like, if you were talking politics, it was like you have to walk on eggshells to make sure that you can go around the guidelines. And I don't know if you saw this earlier, but they actually posted up, they got a lot of flack because I believe Alex Jones and
Fuentes made new channels, and they already banned them again.
Do you have that article that they put up, the post from the YouTube team?
I do. The tweet that I sent you. Let's just start with this since we're on the topic.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to like overstep. I just find it interesting.
Updates from YouTube. Updates from YouTube tweeted earlier today said, we've seen some previously terminated creators try to start new channels. To clarify, our pilot program on terminations is not open yet. They are saying that they're going to have a pilot program that will allow people who were banned previously to get back onto YouTube, namely, like you're just saying, like an Alex Jones or a Nick Fuentes. It's still against our community guidelines for previously terminated users to use, possess, or create other channels, and will terminate new channels from previously terminated users in accordance with these guidelines. We'll have more to share on the limited pilot program soon. So, God, what were we going to say?
No, so it's interesting that they were basically, the evidence shown that, yes, they were doing these things, right? They were censoring people. And then the minute where like, all right, you admitted it, now I'm going to start a new channel. And then it's like, they're like, oh, time out. Not you guys. Not you guys. We still hate you. We don't want you. So it's just very interesting. And I mean, you have anything?
Well,
I don't want to keep overstepping.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I know.
I'll be like,
I know this is one of the things that frustrates me and you the most, right? It's not just that YouTube was because like they side, let's say, ideologically on the left or anything like that either. Let's be clear, like it's because the government was like harassing them at the time specifically. This ties into everything we'll talk about later too. The Biden administration was harassing them about a lot of the COVID stuff. So this is from the House Judiciary GOP. Said, thanks to the oversight of Jim Jordan, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off YouTube due to political speech violations on topics such as COVID and elections an opportunity to return. Google also admitted the following to the House Judiciary Committee. The Biden administration pressured Google to censor Americans and remove content that did not violate YouTube's policies. So again, this is one of the things I said most of the time. It's like when you would get some of these strikes, these for violating, community guidelines, it would be so vague. It would not be, you wouldn't even know what you actually violated. And then you'd go and you'd be like, okay, here's what the video is about. It's about me talking about, COVID or something like that. And you go read the policy. And it's like, but I didn't say anything that's against this policy here. It says the Biden administration censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. Public debate should never come at the expense of relying on authorities. The company will never use third-party fact checkers. Europe's censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech, including the removal of lawful content. So these major admissions come after Chairman Jordan's subpoena to Google and a years-long investigation into the company. So I was thinking about a funny example. I don't know if you remember back when, remember on the Bills, Damar Hamlin? Remember when he just fell out of nowhere?
He collapsed.
He just collapsed, and he was, like everybody was like terrified and worried about him.
Yeah.
And then he a lot of people, of course, the conspiracies come around about the COVID shots and all that stuff. And did this have any effect on Damar Hamlin and whatnot? And then people who were going real down the rabbit hole saw him make an appearance at a game, but he was like in a really big coat and kind of like hidden from public view, almost like obscured. And a lot of people are like, is this guy dead? And they cloned him or something. And, because they don't want like the negative fallout to come on the COVID vaccine, if it had anything to do with that. I'm not saying I did. But anyway, me and the captain did an episode back then at that time called Damar Hamlin Clone. Yeah. And we talked about this whole thing and we went down the rabbit hole. However, Captain and I, as much as anybody who watches the show knows, we go down rabbit holes and we're conspiracy theorists and things like that. Like, I maintain my position. I'm like, no, I don't think he's dead. I think it's like, I forgot what it was. It was like, I was making the point about it being like poster board material for the Bills. Like, they're trying to like rally the Bills by getting him to come back. Maybe he didn't feel good, whatever. So like and the captain wasn't really buying the whole he's a clone. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
That we got a strike, episode removed for insinuating, for community guidelines violation. Now, again, I'm reading that and I'm like, for what? I'm like, I never actually, I had out the discussion that like, here's what people are saying. Here's what I think actually happened. I disagreed with the people saying that the vaccine killed him and he's a clone or anything like that. And they still yanked our episode for that and gave us a strike for it. Right. And again, to this day, our channel is obviously fucking shadow banned on YouTube. Specifically, me and you have talked about the ridiculous, retarded conversations I've had with support. You get thousands and thousands of views, but you get no return on subscribers from all of them. You get actually a negative return on subscriber. Like, it just mathematically doesn't make any sense. That's like one of the worst aspects, in my opinion, of some of the censorship. I'd almost rather have outright been banned, like Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, everybody on the Patriot Podcast Network, because at least it's black and white. Instead, we've kind of been stuck in limbo where it's like you make all this content, with the goal of it actually being seen by people. Otherwise, why are you even making any content? But then it ends up becoming you just screaming into a void of nothingness, and that's very frustrating. That's part of the reason why when we got to episode 300, we're like, this has to be also about just having fun, not just politics only, right? Because if we're going to just scream into a void, that's fine, but we have to at least enjoy ourselves while we're screaming into a void if that's going to be the case.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. Yeah, it's just it's very unfortunate, and that was always an issue. Is that just with any platform? Because I'm basically on every single platform. It's more of this, robotic response. You appeal something, they don't tell you, and when you appeal, they're just like, "Yeah, no, you're denied," and it's just no reasoning,
no recourse.
There's
Can't speak to
no
anybody,
way
really.
you can talk about it, sit down, unless you're a YouTube partner and you have access to team members, or unless you're someone who's like, what's his name? The massive streamer, iShowSpeed, who probably has a dedicated actual YouTube member
agent
that is massive up top. He has a connect to be like, hey, listen. And then that's how you get away. So it's just a picking and choosing of what can be said or what can be done. And you allow that to happen, like it's just really, it's black and white. And you know what? Hey, listen, it's not fair. Life's not fair too. So, I mean, I use it sometimes as motivation to be like, well, fuck this. Like, now you're going to see me. Now I don't care what I have to do. And for you, it's a little bit harder in the sense of the political realm of, you're talking freedom of speech and, things that can be said or, whatever the conspiracy. Also, too, it's also hard if you're a content creator that does, the conspiracy theories, which has a little bit, I'm going to just not assume, but like from knowing you guys and watching you guys forever, it's like, it's also under like satirical law. Like it's not like you guys are dead set on like there's a fucking clone of this guy walking around. Like it's just there is
like
no
most of it is right. Like it's funny, it's tongue in cheek. Like when me and Garrett are on here going on about flat Earth, like I don't actually know if Garrett thinks the Earth is flat or not. I don't think he actually does.
Yeah.
A lot of it is him just fucking with me.
around,
and that's
trolling.
part of the entertaining aspect of humans communicating with
because it's hard for people to determine if you're a troll or not. Because there's times, bro, where Tim Dillon gets me good, bro. I'll be like, yo, this guy's fucking, he's a maniac, right? But he does it perfectly, right? He throws in serious, and then he throws in being a troll, you know, being satirical, and it's like, how can you decipher that while, you know, engaging in their content? It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to understand, because you could watch someone, you know, what was it? He said he was like, the future doesn't look good. Everybody's on fucking crack, you know, like that's little segment. Like you turn in, you'll be like, oh, this guy's wild. He's crazy. But it's just a comedian who's just, you know, making jokes. So that's the tough part is kind of deciphering and how can you have a better system. But I feel
that shit out, you know, let people figure it out. As long as you're not, again, like directly inciting or calling for, you know, to kill someone, or like direct calls to violence. I agree. Like those things should not be broadcast out to millions of people, right? Because then, you know, someone
and it's also, you have it on Twitch, you have it on Kick. It's both opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, it's very divided in terms of streaming. I don't care anymore. I don't, you know, I'm just trying to promote, you know, good content and entertain people. So I don't care what platform. I have no allegiance to any platform unless they sign a check and they go, here's your contract. I really don't care where I'm at. I don't care, you know, because look at Twitch. You have the golden boy, which is Hassan Piker, who they just let him just, you know, do whatever. You have like one of his cohorts, Frogan, who was like, you know, I wish that every American soldier dies. Like, you know, it's just very, very egregious stuff. Now, do I agree with it? Absolutely not. But it is hate speech 100%. But, you know, it's there. It's
hate speech. It's a speech that you hate.
It's a speech that you hate. Exactly. So my thing is, you know, you're going after other people, and these people get to go roam around freely on these platforms and stream, and then now you're just creating this echo chamber. And
it's a mafia, bro. Certain people are made men, and they can say whatever they want, right?
And they are protected. Yep.
Look, one of the morals of the story, I can make the point to, let's say, YouTube and Twitch, who are two of the main, you know, streaming platforms in the world. Like, you know what you got for doing all that? You got major competition sprang up because of it. Now you have Rumble and Kick and a lot of other competitors have sprung up specifically because of that behavior.
To combat that,
you guys, right? Rumble's doing great, you know, and like if you go look at like our videos that we post on Rumble, they get way more fucking, especially like our long form content gets way more, you know, viewership and engagement on Rumble than it does here. So like that's what you get if you want to fucking fuck around. You know, the marketplace will eventually come up with, as long as there is an allowed free market to one extent. You know, someone will create an alternative.
And in the streamerverse, right? In the streamerverse, there was a very specific thing that happened between a very large streamer, Dr. Disrespect, where they tried to cancel him. They tried to the mob and the public try to cancel him. Like I don't know the specifics, you know. I'm just going based off of, you know, what I remember and him going back and forth, and he, you know, basically, you know, the public is not the court of law and stuff like that. So even still, YouTube took away his partnership after all that stuff happened, because they got pressured, right? You get pressures from the public, you're going to sway to public opinion, and they voiced it, you know, they're probably getting like, oh, how are you going to keep this guy? So they took away his subscription button, right? And he tried to apply. He was like, wait 3 months, reapply again, waited 3 months, reapplied, and heard nothing. And then Rumble was probably in the back room, like, hey, come to us. Come to us, right? So that guy just went through a crazy PR nightmare, which what he did was wrong. I admit that. But at the end of the day, now you have Rumble, who gave him a $25 million contract to go stream over to them. So now it's like,
He's gone off YouTube now completely. Like YouTube lost
No,
him.
he's still on. No, he'll never get YouTube. No,
Okay.
I mean it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get off YouTube because YouTube
it's the biggest thing. Yeah,
it's the main.
Everybody
market.
knows it.
I don't in the internet. It's the main market. There is. I love YouTube as much as it's frustrating to see how they treat the streaming.
There's a lot of good shit that's on there. I was telling you before. I like watching a lot of like the history videos. Things like that. There's a lot of just that has nothing. It's outside of this world. A lot of just good shit on there. So I agree with that point
So
completely.
I enjoy YouTube. I think the streaming on my end, what I do, I think it could be a lot better. It could be a lot better for streamers, gaming streamers, for you, changing the chat, making it more engaging for viewers, make it more appealing through the optimization, the cosmetics, make it look a little bit better. That's all. That's a good Twitch. I've been on Twitch. Twitch got it down pack. I'll give Twitch that. Twitch is invested everything into just streaming. How is it good for the content creator? How is it good for the viewer?
Does it work
content creator
work good?
Let me reword that, because the content creator is a little bit overreach, because sometimes they'll just like ban people. I haven't heard or seen anything like of Twitch doing like crazy bans of like things people are saying like they were doing before, because that was a big thing. And I haven't dealt with that personally. Kick either. I mean, I just recently got back into Kick. But it's just I walk with no fear. I don't care. I say what I want to say. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. Fuck off. It's just that's pretty much what it is.
It's the way to do it, man.
But YouTube's got it in the bag, man. I've started on YouTube, man. I started everything on YouTube, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to leave, because it's like,
again, like you said, it's the main place, it's the main medium for,
and it's hard. It's hard.
Really
it's hard to find success on YouTube than it is anywhere else, honestly.
Yeah, it's saturated with stuff.
It's so much, so much competitors, and then it doesn't help if you're shadow banned, so they have to really, get back to the drawing board on like how to make things pop and make it fair. That's all we're asking for as content creators.
We'll see, because that's what they're promising here. But again, it's a pilot program, and so
like, what are they treating it as? Like a
we
show?
will keep an eye on it. Right?
Are they treating it as a show? Like, we got pilot the first season. We're gonna test you out.
Yeah.
Like what? It's just
I will believe
doesn't make
it
sense
when I see it. But
exactly.
I think this is a good segue kind of into one of the main topics of the past week. But on top of that, I think I forgot to mention before that I do want to, Kamala Harris is back in the news, and she had a really kind of interesting clip, which we'll get into later. I think we should segue straight into Jimmy Kimmel now, and we can talk about Comey later as well. But obviously, you saw this, right? Kimmel got kicked off of his show, which, man, like, nobody watched that fucking show anyway. At least in my opinion, he made some comments about Charlie Kirk. It was I'm
hearing a lot about what.
So I stitched together the 3 minutes of what I thought were some of the most interesting things he said when he came back on. Remember, he got kicked off because he, in a sense, said that Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin, that guy Tyler Robinson, I believe his name is, was a MAGA supporter. Right now, that was like an outright lie. In my opinion, he knew it was a lie, and he said it anyway, because he's out there. He's a propagandist. He's spinning a narrative. He hates the MAGA thing. He hates Trump, etc. So what happened was the FCC director, I think, went on Benny Johnson's show, and they basically like threatened Disney and the whole company, like, hey, you guys got to do something, right? So then Sparks, because like the head of the FCC went on a show and threatened a talk show host. Now everyone, on the Democrat side of the aisle and liberals, leftists, all of a sudden become free speech warriors again. Like, you see, this is a violation. Trump is a fascist dictator. He's Hitler 2.0. He's trying to get Jimmy Kimmel, kicked off the air and whatnot. So I don't know if we want to talk any more about that.
No,
or if
absolutely. I'm gonna lean into that a little bit. We might disagree on this, but I'm not a Jimmy Kimmel fan whatsoever. I think you're correct. I think he, talking about lowering down the temperature, and you going out and saying rhetoric about being whoa, wow, that was crazy. Authoritarian. Jesus Christ, I can't even speak right now. That's crazy. That's how tired I am. when you're saying that stuff, it's like you're not lowering the temperature, you're still spewing some crazy shit, right? And that was the whole point of, why, he said something that wasn't true, that was proven to be false, right? But what the FCC did, because ABC holds a license to show, just keep their show running and
broadcast on the major networks,
broadcast on a major network, because you're entrusting them, because they have so much influence into the masses that they have to abide by certain rules and stuff like that, right? But from what I'm understanding is that the Trump administration leaned heavily into the FCC to be like, hey, you guys have to take care of this, right? And that's what they did. They said, hey, listen, like, it's either, we could do this the easy way or the hard way.
That's literally what he said. Yeah.
Okay.
The FCC guy.
Now there is
gangster shit.
Gangster, like, yeah, that's some mob shit. But like, is there a difference between what the Trump administration has done and the Biden administration when it comes to Google and YouTube?
No, it's the same
fucking thing, bro.
You know what? I'm sorry. Let me back up. It's actually not the same thing, because you just made the point that that the networks, the major networks, are FCC regulated. Like, Google's not supposed to be FCC regulated. It's not. Neither is YouTube, right? So it's not the same thing exactly. Now, I'm a libertarian. I don't believe in any of this shit. I don't think there should be an FCC or government control on any of these things whatsoever, but it does exist. I viewed fucking Kimmel as part of the government in a sense, or part of like the regime, the deep state, the machine, right? Like, if you watch Kimmel throughout the years, no one really does, but all the clips that came out, over the years, like, he's always taking the side of like the monolith, like he's always taking the side of like when COVID was happening, he's taking the side of the pharmaceutical industry, and any dissenting view, opinion, even if it's mild, Jimmy Kimmel was never taking that, right? He's up there reading a script, and it was the approved script. So it is gangster shit, but it's a gangster world, and he is out there just being a propagandist for a certain faction within these gangs that are trying to rule over us at all times. So like, I didn't give a fuck. Like, I don't view him as being me or you on YouTube expressing freedom of speech. What he's doing is not the same thing. He's up there being an arm of the regime, a propaganda arm of the regime.
I understand your sentiment, but it still falls under the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. So he has
no rights. Government has no rights.
No, listen. I agree. I don't think that the Trump administration should put any pressure on the FCC because of what this guy was going on and saying. And it's the same thing with Charlie Kirk. He has every right to do and say whatever he wants. And they silenced him. So not they, but like whoever. I mean, that's another conversation. But you understand? And the same thing with the Biden administration giving pressure to YouTube and Google. Now, here's a question to you, right? Because I thought about this. Since the FCC has to have a license, they enact and they enforce these licenses and these rules for certain stations. Why is it that YouTube, any of these platforms, don't have same regulations at FCC? Right? If you think about it, if the cable networks have to have a license to program and showcase themselves in millions of people, it's hard for me to understand this, because cable news network or cable network in general is so low right now, because YouTube is where it's at. That's the numbers, right? That's the influence right there. So it's kind of funny that like you go to Jimmy Kimmel and you're like trying to silence him or just take him away, out of the picture. But meanwhile, it's like Jimmy Kimmel, he had a good point when it came to that. So like, what about podcasts? And it's true, because Joe Rogan's podcast exceeds Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, fucking the other guy, what's his name? Stephen Colbert, the guy who got fired. Like,
oh yeah,
all three of them combined.
All of them combined.
Yeah. No, hey, listen.
So I think it was I agree. I know what you're saying. I think it was a mistake, like what the FCC guy was saying. Like, I was listening to Dave Smith talk about this, and he was like, put like the morality and the sentiment aside. Like, tactically speaking, it was a mistake, because like what just happened to Charlie Kirk happened. It was awful. Everyone, Charlie Kirk's the free speech warrior. He was literally murdered for it. Yeah. Like you had sentiment and, like sympathy on your side. Yeah. You were in the right, and like largely speaking, conservatives, the right wing, whatever. Now you go and, you send your guy out there publicly to do gangster shit against Jimmy Kimmel. Well, now you just like handed your opponent a talking point.
Yeah.
A talking point.
You gave them a reason. Yeah.
Be clear they do not believe in, right? But regardless of that, people are influenced, they are swayed. And that talking point that they were using, like, oh, you see now we're concerned about freedom of speech. We weren't 5 seconds ago when Charlie Kirk was murdered, but now we are because Jimmy Kimmel wasn't. You guys are supposed to be the freedom of speech warriors. Now, that being said, this quote was cycling on social media. Again, I think it's a great fucking quote. It's actually from Frank Herbert in the Dune book series.
Yeah.
And it says, when I am weaker than you, I ask you for freedom because that is according to your principles. When I am stronger than you, I take away your freedom because that is according to my principles. And I thought that quote was exactly what we've been seeing here this entire time. Now, like, in a sense, the right wing is stronger than the left wing, the establishment, the regime, the deep state, whatever. Now, I'm speaking very broadly. Everyone knows I criticize Trump as, I'm not sure where he falls exactly in the whole thing. But it's very much so, like, again, these same people who just pressured YouTube throughout the COVID years and all that bullshit, we're literally threatening free speech for the past 5 years, are now saying, well, no, now we have the same principles you had, and now we're going to appeal to you to hold yourselves up to those principles because you have some power now, and you can wield some of that power over us.
And then not too long ago, sorry to cut you off, but not too long ago, I mean, not too long after Charlie Kirk got murdered and assassinated, you have Pam Bondi sitting here talking about going after hate speech. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to go and attack people who use hate speech. Who the fuck are you to determine what hate speech is? Like, that is a serious line you don't cross. And like, do you forget who your base is? Like, the people who voted for you is to preserve these amendments, these constitutional, and it's just like, what do we do? Like, you literally just ran on like being better than what the Biden administration has been doing and the Democrats been doing for years, and then you're going to come with we're going to go actively search for hate speech. Like, what dictates hate speech? Is it hate speech going towards Republicans and conservatives? And then you use Charlie Kirk's death to spew that?
Yeah, it's like completely antithetical.
Oh my God, bro. That's just crazy. I'm just saying, my whole point is, I'm a firm believer of the First Amendment. Everybody has the right, because if you have a government that comes in and they gotta, because we could just turn like UK, where you post something on social media, they'll lock your ass up. And that's a scary world. And that's a world I don't want to live in. And that's a world that I will fight to not have, bro.
And I think that's what we should be focusing on. Like, again, go back to that quote, like, once these people return to power, they're going to continue doing what they were doing before, which is trying to clamp down on all these things and target people. So I don't take, I guess, the most traditional libertarian point of view here as if that we shouldn't do anything. We should just allow freedom of speech. Like, we should just allow people to say whatever they want. I think we should actually take this moment and this opportunity to do something. Like, what is that something? I don't know. Maybe try and like pass some laws, or like even more like codify freedom of speech, and so that they can't then later, come and try and wiggle their way around it, or, put in place some sort of like very steep penalty. Like, let's say a Democrat, let's say President AOC next time around goes and does some of the shit that Biden was doing, with YouTube. Same exact premise, does it all over, the Twitter file stuff all over again. Like, there's got to be something on the books. Like, if you do that and you get caught, like, you're going to prison, like, immediately. Yeah. I don't know, like some accountability type shit. Yeah. Maybe that's what they should be working on or trying to do.
I just come to realize lately that with things that we're witnessing right now, it's just, you can see the similarities between both parties when they're in power.
Of course you can.
It's just there is a lot alike than people make it out to seem. When you talk about political. Exactly. Yeah. Perfect.
Just real quick, just to piggyback on what I was saying before, and again, another idea, remember when they passed the vaccine mandate, and then there was like a lag time before the Supreme Court struck it down. How many people actually went and then got the vaccine that they didn't want to, because Biden just, unilaterally declared a vaccine mandate through OSHA, but then the Supreme Court knocked that down. There's no punishment or accountability for that. Like, the president did something unconstitutional, rape in a sense. He literally medically raped a portion of the population, and there's no accountability. And then it's like, oh wait, whoopsie, I violated the Constitution and forced all these people to do something they didn't want to do.
I mean,
whoopsie, now it's undone, but like there's no accountability. Like
bro,
maybe that's what we need to worry about. We need to work on here while we have this short period of time. If Trump has any mojo here, like make some fucking things that will hold people in power accountable if they go and step beyond the line. But beyond it just being repealed, or well, you could hold them accountable in the next election, something like that, which is what they always say.
And let's talk about accountability, right? And I think we talked about this. We discussed this on the Charlie Kirk. Is that I think the American people right now currently collectively want people to be accountable, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. A lot of people are big on both sides about the Epstein list, right? People like stop throwing stuff at it and using the cover up to like cover what happened. We need to understand, like, we want people to be accountable. It doesn't, the law should uphold to any citizen, right? Doesn't matter what power or whatever. Like you said, accountability. I mean, George Bush went to war that was not sanctioned by the Congress.
Maybe he should be in prison.
And Tucker Carlson, I gotta say, bro, I was never a fan of his, but homie is really doing journalism right now. Like to a point where he's trying to prove himself, that he doesn't need a news network. And obviously it's going to be a little bit biased in a sense. Obviously everybody's got their agenda, right? But he's asking the questions, right? He's asking good questions to make people think of, like, with the whole 9/11 series that are coming out. That first 25 minutes, I was like,
oh, I didn't get to see that yet. I'm gonna check it out at some point.
Bro, I mean, he has people who worked in the FBI and the CIA during that time in 9/11, and he goes through the process of things. And I'm sitting there like, homie's asking for it at this point. I mean, it's getting to a point where
his security is really good.
Huh?
Yeah, I hope his security team is top notch, man. He's he's a target. Absolutely. I love Tucker Carlson. I'm not wishing that upon him. I'm advising him, like, please take care of yourself, defend yourself. We need you around. Yeah.
I mean, 100%. And for the work that he's doing right now, currently, he is a good representation of, and it's a little bit of a reach, but I feel like this is why he's getting more traction than normal, is because he's asking the questions that people always had in their minds of, like, what is going on, and interviewing people, that the government doesn't want him to interview, and questions that they don't want him to ask.
People can smell bullshit, bro. That's why he's doing so good, right? People can watch Tucker's show and be like, I just feel like this guy is telling the truth, or he's being honest.
Well, we hope.
I'm just saying, though, I'm not saying we're mind readers.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's why Rogan is also so popular. It's because, like, there's a genuine authenticity. It doesn't mean these guys don't have any agenda, or that they can't be wrong. They are, of course, wrong all the time. I do think Tucker Carlson has an agenda. I do think, if I had to guess what his agenda is, it is Christianity. Like, he wants Christianity to be more prominent in America again. I don't even disagree with that. I think that's a good thing, right? But I do think that's primarily his agenda, and I think he actually kind of outright says that at some point. But
no, he does. Yeah, he tries to tie in a lot of scenarios into Christianity, because he'll bring up Bible verses that are similar to things that are happening currently. And I don't fault it. Like I said, I'm not, I have a tough time with religion as of late. I've been, after the world where it's turning, I'm like, sometimes prayers are good, and they do good for the soul. But besides that, he is asking important questions when it comes to, like, why is my government sending foreign aid to these countries? Why is our government sending condoms to the Taliban? Like, why is our money going to these things? So it's like because if you go and have conversation with people, out in the streets, just regular hardworking Americans, like, these are the same conversations that everybody's having, and it doesn't matter.
Well, people will find common ground on things like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. Like, you could say something like that, and people, like, yeah, man, I agree with that. Okay, maybe they don't agree with you on every single thing. No one fucking does. No one agrees with everyone on every single thing. But there are a lot of just common sense points and things like that people would agree with. Okay, 100%. So let's real quick go to kind of the breaking news of what happened before, just because I don't want to miss this. It is something. So James Comey, who was the former FBI director, he was the FBI director when Trump first became president. It was part of the whole Russiagate thing and all that stuff, with the the Hillary Clinton laptop as well, choosing not to, go after her about that. So I got the article here. I'll just read from it real briefly. Kash Patel, the current FBI director, said for far too long, previous corrupt leadership and their enablers weaponized federal law enforcement, damaging once proud institutions and severely eroding public trust. Every day we continue to fight to earn that trust back, and under my leadership, this FBI will confront the problem head on. Nowhere was this politicization of law enforcement more blatant than during the Russiagate hoax, a disgraceful chapter in history we continue to investigate again. So I do agree with them that on the Russiagate host. I don't agree with them that they're doing anything to get the public trust back in the FBI, given the way they've handled the whole Epstein case and all that stuff. I think they've done the complete opposite. I think they've shown that.
I agree.
I don't know what happens once you get, even if you're one of the tough talking podcasters or whatever, and then you go into the machine, you get twisted into a pretzel as soon as you get in there. So he said he added, everyone, especially those in power, will be held to account no matter their perch. The indictment alleges that Comey obstructed a congressional investigation into the disclosure of sensitive information in violation of some code. The indictment also alleges Comey made a false statement when he stated that he did not authorize someone at the FBI to be an anonymous source. According to the indictment, that statement was false. Fox News Digital also exclusive reported that John Brennan is under criminal investigation regarding the Trump-Russia hoax thing. So it seems like Comey is in trouble here for lying to Congress and under oath, which they do all the time, and they never get held accountable for any of those things. So in my opinion, it is interesting. I still will believe it when I see it, that he'll be in handcuffs, and actually being held accountable is not just being indicted. It's you did some evil, fucked up shit, and at some point in your life,
you need to go to jail.
Cash register is going to get rung up, and you're going to be going to prison. You're going to be in handcuffs, right? So I'll believe it when I see it. But it does seem like that's what they're trying to go after Comey for here, lying to Congress, sworn testimony, and things like that. And you almost never see that. So it's a good thing. It definitely is. That's somewhere we could start. Because it is really hard to prove some of these really deep, twisting conspiracy theories where these guys probably erased a lot of the evidence of their wrongdoing anyway. But when Dr. Fauci lies straight to Rand Paul's face and everybody knows it, and he's under fucking, he's under sworn oath, go and get him for that. The cops would go and get the mafia for, tax evasion when they knew they couldn't prove all the murders and things they did. Who gives a fuck? Right? What these guys are. Go and get them.
And conspiracy charges. Yeah. Oh, so if you're in the mob and you have business with this person, like Fauci with Big Pharma, right? With Pfizer, with Johnson & Johnson, well, now we could investigate them because it's they're working hand in hand. Who are they? So it's I agree, bro. I 100% listen. That's one thing I will always say. I think as an American citizen, I think it's time for people who deal in corrupt and absolute corrupt power and taking advantage of the American people and manipulating the American people, I think is a huge crime that people need to go to jail for, man. And the same thing with the FBI. How is it that you have two guys who are on the internet just saying, if I'm in, the Epstein list will be released, to then the Epstein list don't exist? Are we fucking stupid?
Can we get at least to the point where, I'm under no illusions that there's ever going to be this utopia where everything is perfect. There's always going to be groups of gangsters trying to rule over everyone. And they're all going to do some illegal, fucked up shit. But can we at least get to a place where the people who do the absolute worst fucking things get held accountable for them, like George Bush, like Benjamin Netanyahu? And no, I don't mean accountable as in what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean justice, investigations,
or Gaza,
right? Investigations occur, evidence is provided, courts, tribunals, sentencing, jail time, handcuffs. That's what I mean.
Even Obama too. Obama wasn't squeaky clean.
The worst of the worst. At least let's get back to something like that. That's where I think hopefully this is at least setting a precedent that we can do something like that against some of these people.
Scagz, it's also to, when it comes to the government, they make the laws.
Yeah, of course.
That's and they can bend them and break them, whatever. They can bend them and break them. That's why those committees are so fucking hilarious when you're sitting down, when they're sitting down with CEOs. One of my favorite ones is, because I'm in aviation. One of them was Airbus. No, sorry, Boeing. And what's his name? Josh Hawley was asking questions to the Boeing CEO, and it's just like, come on, dude, you can't like, it's all full. You're full of shit. You're full of shit, and we all know you're full of shit, but nothing comes of it. Nothing happens, right? It's like, yeah, you guys are skipping safety to make more money, to meet the bottom line, to make your quarterly fucking salary, to whatever the case may be, to get your bonuses. You are skipping over necessary things that need to be that need to happen in order to be, because there was like a aircraft model that came out that like crashed like a handful of times or a couple of times.
737 Max.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, there was a safety issue with the aircraft, and Boeing got, he had to go in front of Congress, and Hawley grilled him. He's like, how much do you make? He's like, enough money. He's like, oh, I know how much you make. You make $35 million. What is it you do at the Boeing company? Mm-hmm. It's like, what is it you do? What does he do?
Yeah, what is exactly that you do here?
What do you do?
Yeah, and that's great. I'm glad he got called out for it. But like you said, there's probably not really any accountability for him, like real hardcore.
And they know that
concrete. Okay, and I know, right? And it goes back to kind of what I was saying before. Boeing is just an extension of the government as well. Right, like what is Boeing? Boeing is this gigantic corporation that makes all the weapons, all the planes, the contracts, all the bombs, etc. They're just another arm of government. I know they're registered on the stock market as a private corporation, but that's bullshit. It's all a facade. They're all in cahoots with the government here. So that's probably, that is tied into all.
And these committees, like especially when it comes to corporations or anybody who's getting. Excuse me. When they're getting, grilled and they're on the rocks. Like, it reminds me of the show Succession, where they do those hearings and they try to come off and sound like, they're normal and they're squeaky clean, and then behind scenes when you're watching their day to day or you get to know their characters. They're just the biggest pieces of shit ever. So it's actually kind of hilarious.
Kind of like what Jimmy Kimmel was doing, right? I know we didn't play the video, but Jimmy Kimmel was, when he got back on the air the other day, he was crying and citing Jesus Christ. Does anyone actually believe that Jimmy Kimmel was like a practicing Christian after the years of degeneracy on TV that he's been part of and supported?
The Man Show?
And and one of the points he made was like, I would, as he's crying, that he would never look to upset anyone or piss anybody off or or insult everybody. And he's crying now. It's like, yeah, but you did though. It's like, what, you're only crying now after you you got a little bit of you got a little bit of some sort of pushback. Now you're on TV crying. You're also an actor. Like, I don't think anyone actually believes or buys some shit like that. Maybe some people do, but they, overwhelmingly, I don't think they do. All right, we're coming up against time here, so I do want to get in Kamala Harris, who I made the title of our whole episode. So I put
Kamala.
Given the craziness the past couple weeks, Kamala Harris decides good time for me to go on a book tour, right? Which is pretty fucking crazy in my opinion, given how unpopular she already was.
Like what have you done? What have you done? Besides locking up African Americans at an alarming rate in California, what have you done?
Yeah, right. Not much, right? So her book, I guess, it's called 107 Days, and it's about from the day they decided to run her, just make Biden step down and run her against Trump, and the whole thing that happens in between. But again, just take a step back for a moment. Charlie Kirk was just assassinated. Feel however you want about it. The whole country knows about it. Big story. People are upset. People are angry. It's a very charged time politically. I'm going to go on a book tour now, right? Like, you are not going to make yourself any more popular or win anyone over by doing something like this. Besides your own little core group of people.
I disagree.
Who would follow it.
I disagree.
Well, why?
I disagree. I think it's perfect timing. If you start to think like the way I think about these sadistic fucks when it comes to politics, it's the perfect time for her to release her book. Why? So it gives every person who's on her side, being a leftist or a Democrat, to give her the support after, as a form of a protest, to show.
Maybe she's thinking she'll make some more money because.
Yep.
The people who are, like all the people who were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death are going to probably go and buy her book or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yep. And if she goes around, if she goes around to these, you know, these interviews and what do they call it? These showcases and going, these book tour going to the rounds. Yeah, you lean into the you know, I'm a proud Democrat and, you know, read my book because I bring up a lot of great points about this and that. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, why are you even, what have you done? Like, what have you done? You lost miserably.
Yep.
You lost miserably.
Yep. And I saw her making the point that she didn't. That was very close. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I wanted to play this one video. This is actually Kamala Harris. She's on the Rachel Maddow show the other day. And
she's my favorite, Rachel Maddow. She's still got a show.
She's still got a show. And she's asking her about her book. And they actually got to what I thought was this really interesting clip about Pete Buttigieg, who, you know, was run for president as well on the Democratic side. He was the mayor, I think, of South Bend, Indiana. It's like a pretty well-known face now, I guess, in the Democratic world. And they're talking about how why she decided not to choose him as the VP for her instead of choosing Tim Walz, and around the fact that he's gay and all that stuff. So I thought this is really interesting. I'm going to play it, and then I'll give my thoughts, and you give your thoughts after.
I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear.
Yeah.
With you running as, you know, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a Black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay, it's hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump, who knows no floor, to be a Black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk. No matter how, you know, I've been an advocate and an ally of the LGBT community my entire life. So it wasn't about yeah, right. So it wasn't about any prejudice on my part, but
that
we had such a short period of time, and the stakes were so high. I think Pete is a phenomenal public servant. And I think America is and would be ready for that. But when I had to make that decision with 2 weeks to go, you know, and maybe I was being too cautious.
Okay. It is really something to see how captured by identity politics the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden brand of Democrat is, to the point where she's openly admitting that they didn't choose Pete Buttigieg because he's gay. And I know she's spinning it as, it's not that I have prejudice against gay people. It's just that they are so laser focused on your identity that she went and picked that moron, Tim Walz, instead. Why? Because he's a straight white dude, right? And they're hyper focused on identity, and they're trying to appeal to some demographic of American instead of picking people based off of merit. Now, maybe Pete Buttigieg was the better choice. Maybe he is a more qualified person that could have been the VP.
I think he's better than Tim Walz.
Odd twist of fate, she didn't choose him, and she chose that idiot because he's gay. It is goddamn near poetic and
that's
hysterical. And it's even more funny because she was explicitly chosen based on race. Remember back when Joe Biden was running for president and he got nominated, he said, I will explicitly be choosing a woman of color as my VP. So, God damn it, this is just so soaked in irony. Maybe we could get into real quick, like, I'm not a Pete Buttigieg fan, but I do remember when Hurricane Helene happened in North Carolina that there was a whole, to do about what a disaster it was. And, the government response. I remember Elon Musk was heavily involved trying to get Starlink. And help out and things like that. And for what it's worth, Elon Musk did make a post. I remember saying, I was on the phone with Transportation Secretary, I think it was at the time, Pete Buttigieg, and like, he's on top of it. He was great. He waived whatever red flag restriction things that were in the way to help surge the support that Elon Musk was trying to get here. So I don't know. That's one anecdotal case of evidence that perhaps Pete Buttigieg did have way more merit, but they didn't pick him because he was gay, because they were trying to appeal to an identity politic thing, which obviously Tim Walz was a moron. Any straight white dude saw Tim Walz and that fake video of him doing the tune-up on his old square body Chevy, and we're like, this is fake. This guy is ridiculous, and no, he didn't appeal to anybody, or him, going duck hunting where he was holding the gun the wrong way and all that stuff. So just like, my God, the incompetency and just the capture, the complete ideological capture by identity politics. Like, that is the only thing they think of. It's not like they don't ever pick anyone because they think, look, this person is just really talented and they're going to be the best person for the job. It's like, what do you look like? That's how we're going to determine if you're going to go do this very important job or not. And it's just, damn it, man, the irony.
What's that quote Dr. Martin Luther King used to say, or he said once in his very famous speech? Don't judge a man based on their skin, but the content of their character. Okay. And that clip is just proof how like completely fucking out of touch with reality some people, because, and also too, that's the hardest hitting question I've heard asked. Like,
it is. It's a good question.
The hardest question I've heard her ever receive on a press tour ever. So, because she just I didn't say that. Like, you're full of shit. You got caught, and now you're trying to figure out a way to fucking, pivot. Like, come on, stop it, And I do think, honestly, Pete Buttigieg would have been a better ideal candidate than Tim Walz, 100%. Why not run him? Like, that's just the thing. Why not base him and his, his work on what he does and his actions, not because he's fucking gay. That's crazy.
Yeah, or even
just like anything. That's just anything in life. Like, what are we talking about here? Can he get the job done? Does he do a good job? Is he there for his constituents? Like, what is he? What does he stand for? This and that, and have people decide that. But it's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy how like she got called out, and why is she even a thing? Why is she even like? I don't understand. It just bothers me, dude. It bothers me.
Yeah, she was just
she's just terrible. She's just terrible. Like, she's not a good politician. She doesn't know. I don't know. She's not.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's out there doing the rounds.
I'm not saying that Trump is the greatest politician ever, because homie is wild. Homie made me, it's not funny. I'm laughing at like how wild he is. He's a wild boy. Trump is a fucking wild boy. Now, Erica Trump forgave the killer, and he was like, Erica, you can forgive him, but I don't. I hate him. I hate my enemies, and I'm like, dude, that's not the whole premise of this whole fucking thing, is that this poor woman just lost her husband. And yeah, she's doing the right thing, right? If she believes in something, she believes in this religion, and she believes in Jesus. Jesus did do that. Jesus did forgive. There is no hate, combat with love. And this psychopath comes out, it's just like, Erica, it's gonna be me. I hate everybody. I hate my enemies. So it's like, it's just like wild, bro. It's just like the state of politics is absolutely hilarious at this point. I'm enjoying it.
As the past couple of months, as many times as I've been just disgusted, angry, dejected by a lot of the things Trump has done, coming from like a right-wing principled libertarian side of things.
Yeah.
Damn it, there are a lot of things he says sometimes which I just laugh at. I'm like, you can't help but kind of like this guy, even when you're so mad at him, that like it's still just funny.
Yeah, it's just like complete 180 of what the whole initial message is supposed to be about. It's about the unity and peace. And
I saw today.
Not me. I hate him. I hate all of them.
Yeah. By the way, man, let me tell you, like the balls, the courage it took for Erica Kirk to go up there in front of all those people and and say that I forgive the guy who killed my husband. My God, like what a woman. I see why Charlie, locked her up and had 2 kids with her, definitely a good woman.
And it's very sad. It's very sad. I just
everybody mourns in their own way too. There was a couple things about that whole memorial thing that like I wouldn't have done things that way. I don't mourn that way, to each his own. But I was really, really like, it was a bit of a political rally, which I understand. Political guy in that world turning point. but I thought that was above all the other messages from Kirk's memorial. I thought that was the person, the one that was the most important and stood out at least the most to me. Most meaningful, real one.
I think, obviously I don't know them personally, obviously, but I'm thinking because based off of many videos that I watched of Charlie Kirk, smart guy, really smart guy, very intellectually, in tune with, introspective thinking and being a critical thinker and stuff like that. And I would think that he probably had that morbid conversation with his wife, saying that the way things are right now is, with the amount of death threats that we get and all that stuff, there has to be some type of conversation that there's a potential that I might, something might happen to me. And this is what I'm going to need from you.
This is what I'm okay with.
Or this is, like that, what I'm going to need for you. I'm going to need you to be strong and,
pick up the torch, keep going.
Torch,
I'm sure they had some sort of conversation.
100%.
Again, it's not the way I would have done it, but to me, I understand the world that they're in, and they're very driven people. So I get it, but really, man, what a moment from her. Yeah. So that's going to be our show. I do have real quick 2 tweets of the week I thought I could show. Yeah. One of them, ironically, is from Tim Walz, who we were just talking about. And I thought that this was one of the only times I've ever actually laughed at something he had to say. I thought it was legitimately funny. So he quote tweets the fact that someone at the UN intentionally stopped the escalator as President Trump and the First Lady were stepping on. I don't know if you saw that. So Trump goes to get on the escalator at the UN and it just stops. So Tim Walz quote tweets and he goes, not only do they need to be fired, they need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. It's a miracle the president ever made it up the stairs. So I actually thought that was pretty kind of funny for someone who's a goofy fuck like him to have made a point like that. Yeah. So that was good. I don't know if you saw that. That was pretty interesting that the escalator just stopped the moment Trump got on his whole UN week has been really interesting in the foreign policy realm of things.
This kid is gaining so much fucking momentum, bro.
He is. I'm suspicious of him too.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Charlie Kirk's dead now. He's all of a sudden, anyway, it's a whole nother thing. But anyway, he had a good tweet, Nick Fuentes, the other day. He said, in just the last week, Trump called to reinvade Afghanistan, vowed to help Ukraine defeat Russia, and is currently pushing for regime change in Venezuela. And it's only a matter of time before Israel drags us to war against Iran again. What happened to no new wars? Completely, 100% agree. I don't know if you've seen Trump's rhetoric around Ukraine. He's just adopting Biden's policy full-throated now, the past week. And Trump has also been saying that we need to get back into Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. And I'm like, oh, my God, dude. The best thing Trump ever did was he didn't stay in office long enough to see it through all the way. Biden fucked it up, right? Yeah. But Trump set the plan in motion to withdraw us out of Afghanistan, the longest war in U.S. fucking history. It was his plan, and he eventually, so he takes the credit for getting us out of there. He's walking around now saying the Taliban better let us get back in there to Bagram Air Base because, it's close to China where they make their nukes and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, that's the best thing you ever did. And you're talking about you want to get back in there now? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. Enough for you. Again, you ran on no new wars. No new wars also means stop going around the world provoking people, and things like that. I'm not saying we can't be badass and tough. Speak softly, carry a big stick. That doesn't mean we got to take that stick, onto somebody's fucking doorstep and start banging on their door.
I think the way I see it is he's already won. He's already won the campaign. Right, he's already in. He's only in for another 3 years.
3.5 years.
3.5 years, right? So he's already in. There is no re-election. He don't have to go on a campaign tour. You don't have to do any of that stuff. There's something, and this is proof that once you get in, there are talks being had between the executive branch of the government and a bunch of entities that are persuading the president of the United States to go on behalf of their interests to get certain things done. And it's just proof beyond proof. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. They all serve the same fucking masters. And that's it. And this is proof. You ran on no new wars. Nick Fuentes had a great point. What happened to no new wars? Now, all of a sudden, you're adopting everything you ran against. And it's just every single time these presidents, they run on certain things.
And even his own policy, he's going, His own policy was to get us out of Afghanistan. Now he's going against his own policy years later. It's fucking crazy. It's like Tom Woods said, it doesn't matter who you vote for, you always get John McCain. Really is. That's exactly what ends up happening every fucking
because
time.
you get these lobbyists, you get these people coming in, you get all these contractors coming in, and obviously they can't offer the president money, right? You can't offer the president money.
Influencing, man.
But you have
Here's
influences. The sons are influences. Look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden and the Trumps, the sons, are no different than Hunter Biden. Just the fact that they don't do drugs. You know, they used Hunter Biden to get to Joe Biden, and he had all these, charities and all these, he became an artist, and all. There's all these ways to funnel money through, bro, and they're using family members, dude. Jared Kushner.
Oh yeah.
Are we surprised on how Trump is with Israel? I mean, let's be real. Jared Kushner is the prime example of he has someone within the family that has his ear, and has enough respect for that's his son-in-law to listen to him and hey, Papa, I just think that Benny, he's a good guy. Give him some more money. Okay, all right, yeah. So that's how it goes. That's how it works, and that also has to. That has to stop. It has to be a way. And that's where it comes to finance reform. When it comes to, being in government, it has to be more checks, within the government to make sure that money does not influence any political interest. And that's not on the behalf that goes against the American people every single time. Because you're voting for these people to get in to be like no new wars. And now you're going to go back into Afghanistan. Like, that's just fucking wild. Bro, that's wild.
It is. And one step at a time, buddy. There's a lot of things that have to happen before we even get to money out of politics. I don't even know how realistic that is, but it's not realistic. It's a good idea to strive for, but I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I do want you to make sure you shout out your channels and all that stuff so that everyone on YouTube who's watching our shadow banned show can go and follow you.
Well, all my shadow banned people, if you want to watch the shadow banned channel, you can follow me on YouTube at Chris Gaming. You can follow me there. I'm on Kick as Chris, Twitch as Chris, TikTok Chris Gaming, and I think I'm missing one more, but it doesn't really matter. It's a lot of platforms. But I appreciate you having me on. Thanks for engaging really good conversation and bouncing ideas and invoking our First Amendment.
Yeah, man. Of course. That's the
appreciate
deal.
you.
Everybody, thank you for watching our show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, me and Big Luch will be back on Monday to do a Monday Night Raw companion stream, and I'll probably make another political episode at some point next week. I'll let you guys know. Follow us on Instagram, and follow me on X, Scagz89. If you want to keep in touch in between episodes, post news clips. I'm always commentarying on things on Twitter and stuff like that, so go follow us there. Linktree.com/2doommen. Adios, everyone.
Later.